Wish you a very pleasant morning. And today we are going to discuss a few questions, 10 questions that I have picked out from my channel, which people have asked in the last 1 week. And my effort is always to group these questions together and do a combined video session, because otherwise it doesn't make sense mixing all questions in one talk, what heading to give that talk. And people generally are interested in particular topics, and therefore a potpourri or a mixture of questions from various aspects of hair transplant doesn't serve the purpose for most patients. So I'm Dr. Bhatti, and I'm a hair transplant surgeon, a plastic surgeon based out of India. And my practice is in Mumbai and Chandigarh. And I've been in my practice of hair transplant surgery for almost 20 years now. So today we discuss about the timeline of growth of a hair transplant. It is a fascinating paradox in the realm of hair transplant that the younger individuals, despite having very robust donor area at the back and the sides in most cases, and much superior healing capacities, may not achieve the outcome that an older patient might achieve. This may be little surprising for you, but it is quite ironical, a huge paradox. This irony stems from the fact that the younger patients frequently exhibit unstable hair patterns. When you are 22, 23, 24, if a hair transplant is done on you, you're surely going to not be able to have a result which can compare to a person in whom the baldness is stabilized at the age of 25, at the age of 35, 40. So this is a myth that the younger you are, the better the result you will get. It's not so. And this also answers the question of many people who are 45 and above, and who ask me whether, doctor, I am not as young now, will my result be as good as if I had got it done at 25? Yes, definitely, you will, and a better result than a person of 25. So this irony stems from the fact that younger patients frequently exhibit unstable hair loss patterns, like I told you, and it makes it challenging to predict future balding trajectories, how the baldness is going to evolve over time, which side the camel will lie. So consequently, performing a hair transplant during this very unpredictable phase of androgenic alopecia can lead to results which are aesthetically incongruent, as the native thinning hair will continue to thin around the transplanted areas. And when we see it in contrast with those in older patients who present with a stabilized hair loss pattern, this allows us to do better assessment, do better planning, and give a more durable and natural looking result, and a result which will last over a longer period of time. So the younger you are, the less chances are that you will have a sustainable result if you are not being selected properly, if you have not been compliant to medical treatment. So therefore, while the youth may offer certain physiological advantages, there's a few questions, I'll answer them at the end of the talk, after the video is over, because my live streaming is plain simple on Android, and I have not yet installed the streaming software, which I will do in due course of time. So sorry for that. Therefore, while youth may offer certain physiological advantages, the maturity associated with age provides a more reliable foundation for a successful hair transplant result. And this conundrum underscores the importance of individualized assessment and timing in hair transplantation, the age of hair transplantation, the timing as far as stabilization of the baldness is concerned. As we all know, each patient's pattern is unique, and progression of hair loss is also unique, and this is determined by the genetics on his side and dictated also by the environmental factors. So this must be carefully evaluated to determine the most appropriate timing, the most appropriate intervention strategy, taking both medical treatment and surgical hair restoration in the plan. By aligning the timing of the procedure with the stabilization of the hair loss, we can optimize outcomes and ensure that the benefits of hair transplant are both aesthetically as well as aesthetically pleasing, as well as they last for a long time. They are enduring over a longer period of time. So the essence of all this is that while the vigor of youth brings many advantages in the context of hair transplantation, but the steadiness of age paves the way for more predictable and satisfying outcomes. So, as far as hair transplant results are concerned, patience is virtue. The hair transplant journey is a journey which takes time. There is no way we can fast forward it. The journey from hair transplantation to tangible results is influenced by a myriad of factors. And each of these factors plays a pivotal role in the outcome. And understanding these variables is essential for setting realistic expectations and achieving optimal results. And we're going to cover these factors, these variables one by one. So as we all discussed, age and hair loss progression. Age is a significant determinant in hair transplant outcomes. Younger patients, especially those under 25, often experience unpredictable patterns of progression of hair loss. And therefore, performing a transplant too early can lead to suboptimal results as native hair continues to thin around the transplanted hair. And this takes away from the initial result, and it also potentially necessitates additional procedures over time. On the other hand, conversely, patients who are 30 to 40 typically exhibit more stable hair loss patterns and allow for more predictable and satisfactory outcomes. And then second, we go on to compliance with medication. Now, post-operative medication adherence is crucial. Medications, and the younger you are, the more crucial it is. Medications like finasteride, like minoxidil, these can stabilize your existing hair and promote hair growth. Non-compliance, especially when you are young and a strong family history, non-compliance can lead to continued hair loss, undermining the success of your hair transplant. And number three is the donor hair quality, of course. The result is a reflection of the donor hair quality. The quality and density of your hair donor significantly impacts the hair transplant success. Thick, healthy donor hair in the scalp can provide better coverage and aesthetic outcomes. Sparse or weak donor hair, like in diffuse pattern alopecia, may limit the achievable density and coverage, and the patient goes off unsatisfied. Therefore, the importance of case selection. And then, while shedding of native hair, the younger you are, the more unrealistic your expectations are, and the more aggressive you want your doctor to be. And not that the doctor minds it, doctor also wants to earn revenue. You want more grafts added for future proofing, more grafts added into native thinning hair, and then shocking thing happens. You experience tremendous shock loss, hair fall off, and especially if they are miniaturizing hair, they will not grow back. You will get permanent shock loss, permanent loss of hair, and the result in these areas will be even worse than what it was when you insisted on getting transplant done in the native thinning hair. So this may take away from the result, and the patient might think that it is a failure of a hair transplant, whereas it is a failure of your decision, a failure of case selection. And then, of course, surgical expertise. What is the procedure that the doctor uses? What is his team like? What are the steps being done by the doctor himself? Is the team is cohesive? Is the team on the payroll of the doctor, or are they itinerant workers? They come on a call and you don't know who's going to come next. So this all determines the quality of result that you'll get. And then we go on to number 6 point, post-procedure care, which is very essential. The first 1 week is extremely essential. You should take time off, look after your grafts, give them the optimal facilities, the optimal environment so that they can grow to their full potential. So proper scalp hygiene, avoiding strenuous activities, following medication regimes, facilitate healing and promote graft survival. And neglecting these guidelines can compromise the hair transplant's success. Stress and lifestyle factors, chronic stress, unhealthy lifestyles, poor diet, smoking. These factors affect hair growth. Hair is very sensitive to all these lifestyle factors. So implementing stress reduction techniques and adopting a healthy lifestyle enhances the transplant's effectiveness and promote overall hair health. So best thing I would like to tell you is that you should get a hair transplant done if you're in a stressful condition in family life or at the workplace. Take a break, take a holiday, plan the hair transplant such that you get the hair transplant done before your holiday so that the growth is optimal and all the stress is cut off. So hair transplants results are not immediate. Initial shedding occurs within the first few weeks, followed by gradual regrowth. Noticeable improvement happens in 4 to 6 months. In 6 months, most people get a good result, which enhances itself by 9 months, and some patients by 12 months, rarely 18 months. So it is very important for you to have realistic expectations. While hair transplants can significantly improve appearance, they do not restore hair to its original density, which many people have a myth. They think that it does. So it is the onus lies on the doctor rather than to pander to the needs of the patient, to set realistic expectations, realistic goals, and understand the procedure's limitations, make the patient understand the procedure's limitations. And this will make the patient happy. Otherwise, there's going to be a complete disaster as far as the patient is concerned. And your doctor should be approachable. It should not be that the doctor is approachable only before you sign up, before you pay upfront the huge amount for the hair transplant. He should also be approachable for few years after your hair transplant, so that because he is the one who has done your procedure, he knows the nuances, because everybody is a different person. He knows your pattern of hair loss. He knows your quality of hair, which he has in his notes in his office. So regular follow-up appointments allow for monitoring, and the appointment follow-up should not be by staff, it should be by the doctor. Addressing concerns and making necessary adjustments to treatment plans. Ongoing communication with the doctor ensures that optimal outcomes are achieved, and any complications which happen are treated well in time before they flare up. So after this short introduction, I would now like to cover a few questions which have been asked. 10 questions I could pick out, can't pick out more because I've got to return to my operation theatre. So question number 1 is, my age is 62, will this affect my result? See, this is the myth that I have sought to address in this video, in this live stream, that the younger you are, you might not get a better result as compared to a person who's elder to you, because his baldness is stabilized. If you are 62, if you do not have some disease like diabetes which is uncontrolled, which can cause poor hair growth pattern, if your donor area is as lush as it was when you were 30-35, and most people do retain their hair even at 62 in the donor area. If your baldness pattern is not too extensive and your realistic goals, most of your patients who are 60 are realistic, you are going to achieve a very good result, which even a 25-year-old will envy. So this brings us to the second question. If I start finasteride and then stop at 3 months, what will happen? See, nothing, I cannot predict that. There are patients who have had no finasteride. On the quiet, they've got a hair transplant done, not taken finasteride, come back with a good result. And then they tell me, take me in confidence, to my utter disgust, that they have not taken finasteride, but still they have got a hair transplant result. But I tell them that if you do not start now, your gains are going to be lost over time as hair loss progresses, and even the planted hair will start to thin out. And then they start off. But starting off finasteride after 3 months is not a very wise thing to do. You go on a trial run before the hair transplant, prepare yourself well. If you have side effects, then don't take finasteride. But if you don't have side effects, what is the reason for not taking finasteride? I fail to understand, because finasteride is a tested drug. It has been with us for 30 years. We know the safety profile. And it's not that it has so many risks as are stated. Only thing, it is giving a very tough competition to all the new treatments which come in and like a flash in the pan and disappear after a few months. The next question is, I got a hair transplant for DPA, that is diffuse pattern alopecia. My doctor told me, since he has put me on finasteride, you will still have a great result. See, when you're treating diffuse pattern alopecia, the donor area is weak, it's miniaturized. So you have to make it more robust, place the patient on finasteride for 4 to 6 months. Once it is robust, you move the grafts. Otherwise, half the grafts are going to die in the relocation process because they're miniaturized. You're going to cut into them. They're not robust enough. If they survive the harvesting process, they'll die in the preservation process. And many of them will fall off during the 6 months. So your result will be patchy. So I will not advise that what I think the doctor has done is done you wrong. He should not have taken you up for hair transplant. Probably he took you on for hair transplant because you insisted. Next question, will my shocked hair due to shock loss come back? No, if they were miniaturizing and if you got future proofing, if you got hair transplant done amidst them, expect some permanent hair loss. Next question, I booked a procedure online but do not know who will do it. Will this affect the success of the procedure? The best way to ensure is do not pay upfront. Pay only a basic amount upfront for booking the procedure and pay the rest at the end of the procedure. If the doctor insists that this is not the protocol in their clinic, please forego your deposit and run as fast as you can. Number 6 question, what are the key components of post-operative care? See, post-operative care is basically to reduce the chances of infection and to give the grafts the maximum growth potential. And I have done several videos on hair care after hair transplant. You just have to search the term Dr. Bhatti, care after hair transplant, and you get a host of such videos. I am in a stressful job and a stressful relationship. Will this impact hair growth? Yes, it will. So therefore, I have covered earlier that you should take time off from work and take a holiday. And these first 3 months after hair transplant should be in a less stressful environment. What is the typical timeline for observing hair transplant results? Most patients observe the results in 6 months and some at 9 months, rarely at 12 months. Next question, how can patients set realistic expectations for their hair transplant? See, hair transplant is not full density, it's 50% along the hairline and 35% in the crown area and grade 5 baldness. So expecting that you will get a head full of hair, which even when you dip in the pool, you will not see any patches of thinning, is a pipe dream. So discuss this with your doctor, be realistic. Last is, why regular follow-up appointments important post-transplant? Because the doctor has to check a lot of parameters like hair growth. He has to tweak your medications and he has to see any complications, any pus points, any infection chances, though they are rare, but he has to check out on those. So the follow-up appointments typically in my clinic are at 2 weeks, at 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, and then at 1 year. Please do not miss those appointments. And that is the end of today's live stream. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please do. Your commitment with me on this channel keeps the channel going. It keeps me encouraged and helps me in bringing out more and more videos, taking a cue from the questions that are asked on my channel. So thank you very much. Have a nice day and God bless you.